This is gonna be a long one, you guys. Get cozy, get yourself a drink, some tea, some wine, what have you. My name is Emily, and this is my booktube channel where I talk mainly about romance books. So today I wanted to talk about what my reading goals are for 2024, as well as kind of quickly go through a list of the books I have planned to go through. So hopefully, if I continue to upload videos throughout the year, you guys can kind of see whether or not I meet those goals or not. Here's hoping. Jumping into goals I have for reading, strictly for reading for 2024. Number one is to read more classic literature. What I mean by that is going back and rereading Jane Austen's collection of works. While I have read The Hobbit, I've never read the Lord of the Rings series, but that kind of Old English classic literature I read a lot when I was in high school and would like to kind of get back into. Classic literature for number one. So number two, and this makes me nervous, like I'm nervous to start doing this, annotating and, you know, using the little annotated sticker things, because I have 5,000 of them. I get them in all of like my little, like probably smut book clubs. They always send you a pack of little tabs, and I literally have them collecting in a pile because I don't use them. I'm terrified and have always kind of felt it was a little bit blasphemous to write directly in books, but I do feel like something missing in my reading world is trying to be a little bit more present and intentional with what I'm reading and being interactive. I can see the value in that, but it does terrify me to mark up a book. So I'm not sure how I'm going to progress forward with that goal, or even how often I would want to end up doing it, because part of the reason I love reading so much is to have that escapism and kind of just almost turn my brain off. So I don't want to take that away from my reading experience. I would want it to be additive in that sense. So I'm willing to give it a try, but I don't know how or when or with what book. Or maybe I should just do it off page in like a notebook or something. I don't know. I'm new to this, so, and it makes me very nervous, but I would like to try to be more intentional and interactive with my reads. Number three goal is to allow myself to DNF more books if I'm just not feeling it, I'm not excited about it. You know, as I've mentioned, my goal is to be more intentional with what I'm reading, and so if I'm reading something that I'm not really enjoying, that I need to put that down and not waste my time, because our time is valuable. Which is not to say that you shouldn't push through some books, that there might be a lull in a book or something that you shouldn't push through that, because a lot of times books are worth it even if there's lulls, and that's usually kind of critical to the story as well. I'm not saying to just DNF if you're bored, but I need to allow myself to put more books down if they're not what I need them to be. Number four, and I know my husband will appreciate this one, is to stop purchasing so many books and start going to the library again. I mean, that doesn't really line up with my goal of trying to annotate more books, but I'm not a monster. Like I said, would it just be like maybe get a notebook and annotate outside of it? Or what do you do? But yes, stop purchasing so many books on very impulsive whims, especially series of books that are not finished, because that gets me. And just read the books I own, because I own a lot of books that I have yet to pick up. I have a lot of them. That was kind of my big fault this past year, was I was getting back into reading and finding all these cool book subscriptions and getting into Bookstagram and BookTube again, and so I was getting really excited about these books, and so I just started buying them, and I was like, oh, there's all these special editions and they're so pretty. Like I got a little bit crazy. I need to slow down on that big time, and like I said, I know my husband will appreciate that. Moving on. Now I know, okay, so now for number five, I know that this is a bit controversial, that everyone kind of has an opinion on this. I like to do it for myself, okay? This is for me, this is for no one else. You do you. But I do have a Goodreads goal. For those who don't know, that just means I have a book count goal that I would like to reach for the year that I thought was attainable, and that is 40 books, which is not the 150, 200 books that you see people here on BookTube. I want it to be attainable, which I think is a rule in goal making, is that you want your goals to be within reach, and then you move on from that goal if you reach it. I thought 40 was a pretty safe number. I think initially I had even told my husband, I was like, I want to read 100 books this next year. And he's like, you're insane. You have children. Like, how are you going to make that happen? I was like, you're right. How am I going to make that happen? Because I mean, I can read a book a day if I'm able to read a book a day, but I don't always have that kind of availability or that kind of time. I am not into audiobooks personally. Maybe that's something I'll try this year. It's not on my list of things I want to achieve for 2024, but it is something I might try. I don't think it's not the type of thing where a number amount is going to dissuade me from reading larger books, because like I said, I'm trying to be intentional about what I'm picking up. I don't think that will be a detriment to my reading life in any way. For me personally, I understand people's reasons for not wanting to set a quantity goal because they think you should focus on quality, which is legitimate, but I don't think that that is an issue for me personally. Moving on. Number 6, this is a big one, is to branch out from romance a little bit. Shocking for me. If you know me, like I don't really read much else besides romance, hence, you know, this channel. And by no means am I going to stop doing that anytime soon. I don't think I will slow down in the romance department, but I do feel like I need to branch out a little bit. So I will probably do that in my quest to start reading more classic literature. I'd like to get into sci-fi a little bit. I don't know about like true crime or horror or anything like that because that's not really my thing. There are plenty of other channels on here that love horror books, but it's not really my thing. Maybe someday. There was one more. Oh, like nonfiction as well. Any recommendations you guys have going forward? Because like I said, I'm trying to branch out if you have any. Oh my gosh. I hope it hasn't been doing that whole time. Is that better? Anyway, please let me know. Moving on to the second part of this video, I do want to kind of quickly go through 24 books that I want to read for 2024. Number 1 on that list is actually a reread. It is The Summer We Fell by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I have to say that was probably one of my favorite reads from 2023. I absolutely loved it, and I really want to go back and reread it and maybe annotate it and maybe do a whole video about it because I loved it so much and it just touched my heart and made me cry. And I don't know now if that's just me literally romanticizing it, going back in my brain and thinking it was this amazing, or if it was really that amazing, because it was just perfection. She also has another book in that series that I would like to go reread, and then she has a third one coming out the end of January. I would like to read that one as well. And keeping with my goal to read some classics, as I mentioned, I do want to go back, reread The Hobbit, as well as finally read the Lord of the Rings series. I am such a big fan of the movies. I grew up watching the movies and just absolutely adore them. I consider myself a Lord of the Rings nerd. However, I've never read the books, and that feels a bit blasphemous. So that is up there on my to-dos, is the Lord of the Rings series. Then number 3, so last year I read These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. Continuing kind of like a spin-off of those two books is Foul Lady Fortune, Last Violent Call, and Foul Heart Huntsman, which Foul Heart Huntsman just came out. So I really want to go ahead and start reading that spin-off series. I have full faith in Chloe Gong that they're wonderful. So they are quite large books. Last Violent Call's small. That's number 3. Number 4 is I want to, as I mentioned, reread some Jane Austen books. I thankfully got the full collection of Jane Austen for Christmas this year, so I'm very excited to go ahead and try to reread all of her work. That'd be really exciting for me. Then number 4 was to read 3 of Ali Hazelwood's books. So I have been seeing these everywhere and heard great things. Was Love Hypothesis, Love Theoretically, and Love on the Brain. I have started them already. I like them, and I have I have thoughts. So that'll probably be a video for sometime in Valentine's Day time. Look out for Allie Hazelwood, her STEM romance books. Then this is gonna shock some of you, being that I am a fantasy romance girly. I have not read A Court of Thorns and Roses yet. Don't come for me. I haven't read it yet. I own it. I got it, the whole series, as a birthday gift from my wonderful husband, but I haven't started it yet. I'm a little nervous too, just given how large of a series it is. So I feel like I need to be able to really like devote a good amount of time to them. And then I know, I have a feeling I'm going to love these books. And so I'm just not prepared. Get involved in this series and then go forward and read her other series, because I have a feeling I'm gonna want those as well. And I'm trying not to buy books, you guys. So yeah, that's on my list. I've been told I must read Divine Rivals and, what is it, Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. I own both of them now. Just been waiting for the right time to start them. I hear they're absolutely wonderful with a good book boyfriend, so looking forward to those two as well. See, my 24 books is probably like double that, because each one I want to read is probably a series of books, so bear with me on that one. Speaking of, okay, number 8 is Ninth House and Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo? Lee? Yeah, I've been dipping my toes back into reading this past year, and so there's a lot of these like much more popular titles that I'm probably going to bring up, because I've been out of the scene, you guys, so I'm excited about all of these new books, and so these are more popular titles. I'm excited to read them. Ninth House and Hellbent, which would probably be my first like dark academia book. So see, I'm sticking to my goals, you guys. I'm branching out. And then next, number 9 is A Kingdom of Stars and Serpents by Holly Renee. My battery's about to die. Refocused. Sorry about that. I had to charge my camera, so I'm gonna try to figure out where I left off. I think the last thing I said was A Kingdom of Stars and Serpents by Holly Renee. I just found out recently, I don't think this series is even completed. I think I have 4 of the books already, but I think there's going to be more, so I'm hesitant to start that until I know that it's completed. Then same thing with this series, Bonded by Thorns by Elizabeth Helen, which just sounds so right up my alley. I think it's like a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It sounds so good, and I've been following them on Instagram, but it's not completed yet. They have another book coming out, I think the end of this 2024 year, and so I want to start it, but I don't want to start something I know isn't finished, so I'm gonna have to hold out even longer. Then number 11 is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I read Icebreaker last year and I loved it. She is self-proclaimed as a cozy romance author, and I think that suited Icebreaker to a T, so cozy romance, Wildfire. Then 12 is Wayward by Amelia Hart. I don't really know what the premise of Wayward is, but I know the cover is gorgeous and that a lot of people really loved this book. So, and then 13 is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. Yeah, I believe this is also kind of just like a cute fantasy romance book that it looks really cute and kind of right up my alley, and the main character's name is Emily, so I think it's appropriate that I read that at some point this year. Also on this list, I have kind of some like honorable mentions, but they're not technically romance. Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. I have read the Chronicles of Narnia as a child. I would really like to reread them. And then I've never read Peter Pan. Those two kind of classic literature books that I would like to explore those a little bit. Jumping back into the romance, I have What the River Knows by Isabel Ibines, which I think is like a YA Egyptian like archaeologist story, which looks really exciting, and I love Egyptology, so I'm really excited about that. After that is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. I don't have it written down who the author is that one, but I know it was super popular last year and I don't think I saw anything negative about it, so, and I own it, so I need to check out that one. Then 16 is another Chloe Gong book because she's incredible. Is her first adult novel, Immortal Longings, which I believe is a retelling of Cleopatra and Anthony, which I love, so excited about that. This was kind of a book that was on everybody's Fourth Wing hangover recommendations, was Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. My lovely friend and sort of sister-in-law Maria gave this to me for Christmas, and I am so excited to pick that one up hopefully soon here. I can get to that one. 18 is Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin. Oh my gosh, this is the most gorgeous special edition cover. I got this through Fabled, which is a Australian fantasy romance special edition book box, and they make absolutely gorgeous books, you guys. I have to show you. Okay, so this is, I don't know if you guys can see, it's so beautifully foiled with like these sprayed edges. That's the back. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And then it has like that little like bookmark thing. It has like pictures on the inside of the cover, and then just the hardcover itself too is foiled. It's so pretty that I don't even know what the story's about. I just know that I need to read this book at some point because it's just the most gorgeous cover. So kudos to the artist who did that. I don't know who did it, but that's through Fabled. I put The Summer You Found Me at this point in my list, but that was kind of back at the beginning. 19, I have Neon Gods by Katie Robert. It's just one of those things I kept seeing that seemed kind of right up my alley. I love mythology and stuff in that kind of realm, so looking forward to that. I really want to read American Gods by Neil Gaiman. I also really want to read Stardust. I love the movie. A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair, which I believe is a Persephone Hades romance, which again, you know, I love mythology, so excited about that. And then I have wanted to read both The Ever King by L.J. Andrews and The Never King by Nikki St. Croix is what I wrote down. I don't know the difference. And finally on this list is actually a YA fantasy romance, is Belladonna, and the sequel is Foxglove by Adeline Grace, which all I know about the story is that it's a girl who becomes involved with a god of death. So kind of another like Persephone Hades vibe is what I get from it. So yeah, that's way more than 24 books I want to read in 2024. Okay, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. You think I should branch out into, that might be a safe bet, I would appreciate it, and I will add it to the never-ending to be read list. Okay, you guys, have a good one. Be safe. Bye.